What's up agents, Epic Slayers here, welcome back to a brand new Division video. Today I'm going to show you the build that I used in my flawless 13-0 Skirmish victory. This build not only does a lot of damage, it's got great toughness and will combat that Predator's bleed. So if you enjoy this one, drop a like, it really does help me out. And let's do this. Alright agents, so this is the build that I've been running for the last couple of weeks in Skirmish and Last Stand. And the build that I actually used on my last video where I went 13-0 in Skirmish. This build can be used outside of those game modes and I will explain why in one moment. First thing we're going to do is go over the build itself as that's more important. And then secondly I'll show you the weapons that I use with this build. So as you can see we've got 2-piece Predators, 2-piece Banshee, 1-piece Final Measure, and then we got Ninja Bike, meaning we get 3-piece Predators, 3-piece Banshee, 2-piece Final Measure, which is really important. The chest piece here, we've got health, exotic damage resilience, ammo capacity, stamina, and we are modded for firearms and health. What's important here is to remember is that I've got exotic damage resilience as one of the major attributes. You will need exotic damage resilience to combat the Pred bleed in this game, and I'd recommend getting it wherever you possibly can. As you can see, I've got 10.5% here, but that can roll up to 11% as a maximum. Of course, you're in Skirmish or Last Stand, it's normalized, so you will be getting that 11%. Now moving on to the mask, again we've got exotic damage resilience, we've got blind death resistance, minor attribute of your own choice of course, and then it's rolled into stamina modded with firearms and health. Again, we are going to be wanting to get exotic damage resilience here because that is that will combat the bleed in this game as best as possible. As you probably noticed with my Final Measure, as I'm getting 2 pieces, I'm getting an extra exotic damage resilience. What I would recommend is that if you're not running Final Measure, to make sure you're getting EDR, exotic damage resilience, on the chest and on the mask, no matter what build you're running really. Moving on to the Kneepads, we've got Banshee Shadow Kneepads here. We're running firearms health and then minor attributes of your own choice. And then of course firearms and firearms health mod, and we've also got first aid self-heal mod, which to be honest I would recommend not using for this build. I actually recommend using pulse critical hit chance. Unfortunately I just don't have enough mods to put it there, and that's why I'm using that. Now moving on to the Ninja Bike backpack, as you can see we have firearms health, ammo capacity. Some people would say that you should run critical hit damage here as a major attribute. I should also run it on the knee pads, but I actually think 16% critical hit damage is nothing compared to almost 30,000 health, and survivability is more important than that little bit of critical hit damage, at least in my opinion and from what I've tested as well. And the mods for this one is firearms mod with health, pulse critical hit chance for the other performance mods there. Moving on to the gloves, we've got SMG damage, critical hit damage, critical hit chance, firearms, of course, that's really what you're going to be going for. And then lastly, the Final Measure holster, we've got critical hit chance and then all your major attributes. And as you can see here, because we are getting that 2-piece set bonus, we are getting an extra 25% exotic damage resilience, which means that with this build, I'm sitting at 46% exotic damage resilience, and if it was maxed in Skirmish or Last Stand, it'd be 47% with that as well. So if you didn't know, and I'll just briefly tell you guys, for anyone who's new to this or is new to this game in general, the 3-piece set bonus of Predators gives you plus 8% SMG damage, the 2-piece gives you reload speed, and then with Banshee, what's important here is the 3-piece set bonus, 10% damage to targets out of cover, which is really strong. The weapons of choice here, guys, I am running a house because the house is the best SMG for DPS in the game by a mile. I've got sustained, responsive and card counter. Really, if you're going for PvP, then you're going to be wanting to get responsive, unforgiving and card counter, or unforgiving, deadly and card counter, but I think responsive is probably stronger than deadly, so that's what I'd recommend. But really, if you don't have the house, any SMG will do as long as it's a good one, like an AUG or an MP5 or maybe even an MP7. And you're going to be wanting to spec it for crit damage where you can get it crit chance. On the small grip, I've gone for a bit of optimal range as I really feel like this gun lacks range, so that just helps a slight bit. And the magazine, I've gone for magazine size, crit damage and rate of fire. My secondary weapon, I've gone for an M700 carbon sniper. I always run this sniper simply because people don't expect you to snipe in Skirmish, especially in Skirmish. And I kill a lot of people just with headshots with this build. As you can see, I've got brutal, prepared and elevated. So if I'm elevated by, as you can see, more than 1.2 meters, I get an extra 10% damage. Plus I get an extra 15% damage from 30 meters away from the target. Plus I've got brutal. And then of course I am speccing this to headshot damage as much as possible. And really with this I'm doing a lot of damage to the head. So that's the only reason why I run a sniper in almost every game mode that I play, apart from the Dark Zone where sometimes I don't. Really, I'm normally running the M700. I'm pretty good with it as well, so I do drop a lot of people with it, and again, it's unexpected. Most people don't expect you to be running an M700 Carbon, at least if you're running something like a house or this sort of build anyway. In regards to skills, I'm running the Pulse, the Conceal Pulse, of course, giving me the extra 12.4% critical hit chance because of the mods I have on my build. So as you see, if I go over to my character here, that's the wrong one. That's my sniper crit chance. We don't want to look at that. We want to look at my house. It sits at 36.5%. So if I'm running a pulse and I hit my pulse, I'm almost up to 50% critical hit damage, which means I actually do quite a lot of damage with this build. It's really quite strong. And then also I run Booster Shot. Now, I always switch between running Immunizer and Booster Shot depending on who I'm encountering. If I'm running against 6 people running Pred, then I'll probably run the Immunizer, but if I'm not, and I'm only running against 1 and the rest are Nomad, for example, I'll be running Booster Shot simply just due to the damage. I don't use it for the heal. I will normally pop a Pulse and pop Booster Shot just to give me that extra damage before I burst someone down. Lastly, for my talents here, as you will see, I am running Critical Save. I'm running Adrenaline because, as you can see, when I do actually need to use a med kit, it gives me 7 seconds of immunity from status effects, and I believe that counters the Pred bleed. And then, of course, we are running Precision to give me that pulse damage for the headshot, and then lastly, on the move. So there you go, guys. This is the build that you lot have been asking for from my last Skirmish video. Hopefully you did enjoy this one. I am going to have a lot more Skirmish videos out of me using this build and other builds, so please stay tuned for those. Thank you for all your support, and if you enjoyed this one, drop a like. Till next time, Epic out.